Power, Happiness and Success family. This video is for anyone out there who wants to change. Now, it does not matter in what capacity you wish to change in. If you want greater wealth, if you want to develop yourself, your being, if you want to accomplish more things, if you want to feel more significant. You know, I'm not here to judge what you want to accomplish in life. That's your responsibility. That's your duty. We all have different missions and so on and so forth. If you want to improve certain relationships or the relationship you have with yourself, you want to develop your self-esteem, your feelings of completeness and self-worth. In all capacities, relationships, building rapport with people, whatever your goals might be, whatever you want to change, if you have a certain fear that you want to overcome, then this video is certainly for you. So let's dive straight in. So one thing that we have to get clear, and you'll be surprised of how unclear this is for many, many people with whom I speak with. And the issue they face is that they want to change things in their life, but they want to keep everything that they have. Now, I'll give you a couple of analogies so that you understand what's happening in this circumstance. People are kind of like, say you got someone who's living in this house with all these possessions. They've got all these things, the gold, silver, nice luxuries, whatever. I'm sure your imagination can help out with this. And in this house, everything seems to go well, but they want something that another person has, a neighbor has. And they essentially want to get what the neighbor has without compromising or giving away anything that they have. That is absurd. That does not work. There's no compromise here. That is very egotistical. That is claiming superiority, and it's being unreasonable and unrealistic. And that's exactly what happens when people say they want to change things, because people aren't willing to change. Now, what we have to understand is we can't solve existing problems. I'm paraphrasing from Albert Einstein here. We can't solve existing problems using the same kind of thinking that created those problems. Like, if you want to get something better in your life, you need new thoughts. I can help you. You just need to really stimulate and activate neuroplasticity and therefore neurogenesis. You want to create new neurons in your brain. You want to connect these neurons differently, stimulate neuroplasticity, so you can change your beliefs, your thoughts, your mental, emotional patterns, your subconscious patterns. Now, as you are fully aware, I'm sure, 95% and even more of our thoughts, perceptions, behaviors, emotions are subconscious programs. We've taught ourselves to do things in certain ways. We begin to associate these patterns, these ways of living with who we are. And whenever these are called, brought forward, really addressed, the needs changing, like what I'm asking you to do here, if you really want change, really want change, people feel threatened, they get defensive, because we cling on to our labels, whether you're male or female, whether you're tall or short or wide or thin, we cling on to these, whether you have a disease. People identify themselves with their existing preconditions, like their diseases. People cling on to their age, people cling on to where they're from, their background, their political standpoints, their religious points of views and so on. People cling on to all their positions, their physical positions. They associate themselves, they don't identify with their children or their spouse or their friends or their siblings or their colleagues and what they do for a living. No, I am this is what I do. And this can be very, very damaging to oneself, in terms of our spirituality, in terms of our consciousness, in terms of connecting to that greater source that's out there, whether you have certain religious standpoints, or you just believe that there's a greater being, or if you're spiritual and you believe there's an energy that we connect with, or that there is a oneness amongst us that we need to connect with if you're going to feel enlightened, finally liberated and free. Then what we need to do is we need to detach from these things. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a personality. There's nothing wrong with having identity. That is a beautiful thing. In many ways, we're all slightly different, yet completely connected. And that's where people get things wrong. People think it's the other way around. People think, I'm completely different and just a little bit connected to everyone, because we're all human beings, so we're a little bit the same. But no, I'm different. I have these things, I have those things. This is where I was born. This is where I grew up as a teenager. This is who I dated growing up. This is who I love. These are my children. These are my clothes. This is my jewelry. It's mine. This is my money and my savings and bank accounts. These are my addictions, like going out for drinking or illicit drugs or watching TV or eating, or whatever it might be. These are my problems. These are my things. And when we identify with all these things, it's really substantial, because the more you identify these things and you develop that kind of compulsive thing, that egoic mind tendency, if you will, if you want to put it like that, then we begin to remember and reinforce who we are. We reaffirm, this is who I am, this is how I live. Oh, I can't overcome that challenge, I'm afraid of heights, or I'm afraid of public speaking, or I'm afraid of I'm quite shy and timid, that I'm scared of talking to the kind of person I'm attracted to. Whatever it might be, whatever kind of fear and inhibitions you might have, like, we can overcome them, but you're not going to if you keep associating yourself with you and you keep reminding yourself every day with who you are. How do you do that? Well, there's a reason why people get immersed, and why I recommend people to go on retreats, on trips, even just holidays for the sake of it. But I really recommend actual retreats where you get immersed in workshops, in seminars, in universities, and you travel to different destinations and you become immersed with like-minded people, because what happens is you get caught up in the collective consciousness of that group, and that's very potent indeed, and that's what instills change. Because the more you wake up and you go on your Twitter or your Instagram or your Facebook or your YouTube, or you go on your WhatsApp and you start messaging and talking to the same people and going on the same social platforms, you're always every day reminding yourself of who you are, what you're capable of. And when you do that, you also remind yourself of what you can't do. You also remind yourself of what you can't achieve, whether it's, like I said at the offset of this video, whether it's acquiring certain levels of finance, wealth. You know, if you think, oh, I'm not good with stocks and shares, I'm not going to get them. Why are you not good with stocks and shares? You know, I've never studied it in the past. Now you're connecting to your ego and what you're familiar with, right? Connecting to your identity, your associations, your labels, your forms of identification. And then if people dig deeper, which is what I like to do, because I like to be annoying like that. No, I want to help people, of course. And so then I start to ask questions. Okay, what makes you think like you can't learn how to do better than that? Well, I've never been good with numbers and analysing charts and understand all these sorts of things. And the diagrams, it just puts me... Interesting. I wonder where did that come from? Have you always disliked that? Yeah, just it never... And what makes you think you can't succeed? Well, what happened was, you know, I have an aunt who got involved in stocks and shares and she made the wrong investment and lost all her money. Oh, so you're identifying with the past and with like limited experiences. So you've never actually invested yourself. You've actually never gone on a course to learn about these stocks and shares, how it works and this sort of... No, I just always... I feel lost. Something just doesn't feel right. And I don't feel like it's something for me. And I'm not necessarily... I'm going to step out of that situation. I'm not necessarily saying that you need to do the things that you don't gravitate to, because life is too short. You want to spend time doing the things that you love doing, playing tennis, playing golf, sports, you know, developing arts, you know, get involved in, I don't know, martial arts, getting involved in communication, in marketing, advertising, I don't know, whatever you like doing, you do that as much as you can. That is the essence of living, getting enthralled and captivated in certain activities, losing your thoughts. That's right, the lack of thoughts will actually make you happier, because people get involved in their compulsive thinking because of their egos, like I've said throughout this video. And that fuels all kinds of existing pain, suffering, addictions. Yes, mental addictions as well as physical addictions, such as, you know, withdrawals that you have from caffeine or from drugs or medical drugs or illicit or illicit drugs, whatever it may be. People get enthralled and captivated, and your own mental emotional processes, your mental emotional patterns are highly addictive. You do them so often that you begin to associate with your identity, who you are, and you crave it, you need it, you always want that one more, you know, and then something always takes over. Sometimes it can take a slight thing to propel you to go through a pattern that you go through every single day, and because it's your body, your unconscious, your core emotions in life, the way you govern your life, the way you live your life, is always looking for things that fit it, that fuel it, that feed it. You are never full. And the reason why you're never full is because you're living within your egoic mind, and your egoic mind is limited. It's like being in the dark and trying to chase something or catch something. Like, you can't do it. Not only are you going to trip up and hurt yourself, like metaphorically and literally, you're actually going to find it very, very hard to ever find the things that you want. And if you do find it, if you've been stumbling in the dark in your egoic mind throughout your life, which is what most people do, which is why most people spend 70% of their lives living in chronic stress, living in survival mode, because they're living in fear, because they're connected to their ego, which is limited. They lack things in their life. They never feel complete and whole. They don't love who they are. They feel like they need more things, and they never arrive. They never manifest. They never become enlightened, spiritual, really joyous, happy beings. Is because they're constantly looking for things that they can never find. Because we don't need anything external. That's ideology. Those are social paradigms. That's what the masses are being taught, that you need this and that. And this is why, you know, I'm sure you've met loads of people who are, you know, have the most incredible branded clothes, designer clothes, and yet they're completely broke. And that's because they've lost themselves within the, let's call it egoic collective consciousness, your conditioned consciousness of the way in which you live. You've learned certain patterns from what you see around you, and you think that that's the way to be successful or happy. And it couldn't be far from the truth. It's the exact opposite, because the more complicated you make matters in life, the more you move away from that greater consciousness, the more you move away from tranquility and peace. So yes, wow, how to change. See, this happens sometimes. Hope you enjoyed it though. Yeah, so listen, how to change. You're going to need to identify your existing patterns. You're going to be able to detach from who you are, your thoughts, your emotions, the behaviors you do every day, your routines, your habits, your temperament, your attitude, and therefore your beliefs. You need to watch these. You need to self-reflect, or get someone who can help you, a mentor who can help you to self-reflect, to dig deeper, to uncover your limitations, your limiting beliefs, your disempowering patterns, if you will. And that's how you're going to be able to change them, by identifying with them, by identifying them, but not emotionally connecting to these limitations. Simply watching them, understanding them objectively. And that's the art of being able to change. First, we need to identify the problems that we run every single day. We need to identify what we want, and we need to understand what the gap is. Okay, certain actions, oftentimes actions, things, patterns that you need to do in order to change, acquire more wealth, learn how to do this, become more attractive, lose more weight, develop better connections, develop your relationships, and become happier, more peaceful, or have more mental, physical energy every single day, or really appreciate life more. Like, there's a journey, but you got to enjoy that journey. So the problem is, most people are so locked into their ego that they always focus on the result. No, that's going to lead to more suffering. You have to enjoy the process. It's like dieting, you know, a lot of people hate dieting. Why are they doing it? Because they want to get to a certain physical place. But if what they're doing is unrealistic, unsustainable, they're not going to be able to live it long term. You have to learn to enjoy the process, waking up every day, eating certain things, eating in certain ways, feeling liberated by eating like these things, and enjoying how your body feels by eating these healthy foods and drinks and fluids and these sort of things. And the art of enjoying meditation, sleeping well, exercising, often reducing drama, reducing stress, you know, steering away from addictions that make you feel inadequate, never enough, and these sort of things. And you need to enjoy that process. And the problem is, a lot of people want change, they want the result, but they're not willing to learn to enjoy the process. You've got to learn these things, because, you know, I've changed dramatically in many areas in my life. Physically, you know, I was an obese adolescent. You know, I've changed my physique over the years, and I now love the process. You know, me not eating healthily, I feel weird now. You know, you have to turn the unfamiliar, the uncomfortable, and you have to make it comfortable. And then once you're comfortable with the uncomfortable, you need to become uncomfortable again. It's a constant feedback loop. And the problem is, a lot of people just want to stay comfortable. And that's why they're going to become depressed, unhappy. It's because they're fear of the unknown, fear of stepping outside of their comfort zone, fear of making a mistake, their own limitations. You know, they're living, we're in their own egoic conditioned consciousness. Like I said earlier, they don't think like they can actually change. They say, I think I can change, but deep down, have you ever said something, but deep down you think, oh, I don't think it's going to happen? That's exactly how a lot of people spend their lives, constantly thinking, I want this, I can do it. They kind of try and pump themselves up, but really deep down they know, who am I kidding? What am I going to do? I'm going to do that. And then it's because they're identifying with the past, and they are bounded by time, and therefore their ego. So wow, a lot to digest. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure, and you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Also click the notification bell, because every single week I release several videos like this, but also episodes, podcasts, one-to-one sessions that you're going to love and really enjoy watching and learning from. Have a great day and stay strong.